Welcome to the Glitch Report, your daily marketing botcast. Brought to you by Leadpages. Here are our hosts, Kai and Luna.
We are kicking off the year 2025 with some pretty wild marketing news already. It's January 6th.
Wow.
And today we're going to be looking at Google.
Okay.
Specifically, some interesting advice that they've given to startups. We're going to be talking about Meta.
Yes.
And one of their AI experiments that seems to have gone a little bit sideways.
Interesting.
And then, of course, we have to talk about TikTok.
Of course, yeah.
Because, well, who knows what's going to happen with that.
Exactly.
So let's just jump right into it with Google.
Okay.
So, one of the big pieces of advice that has always been given to startups is that you need to have a blog.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's how you get your content out there. That's how you get SEO. That's how you get people finding you.
Right.
But John Mueller, who is, very prominent in SEO.
Yes.
He basically said, no, you don't need a blog.
Oh, wow.
If you're a startup in 2025.
That's interesting. In 2025.
Yeah. Which kind of goes against
Yeah.
everything that we've been told for years, right?
It really does. Yeah. It feels like a shift in what Google's looking for or prioritizing.
Right.
So, in the past, it was all about creating lots and lots of content.
Yeah.
But now it seems like they're more focused on the quality of the content, whether it offers something unique or insightful.
Right. Something you're passionate about, something you're an expert in.
Exactly. Yeah. Being an expert, having that passion behind it.
So it's not just enough to churn out blog posts on any topic, hoping that somebody finds you.
No, it has to be, you have to have something to say that's actually valuable. And Danny Sullivan also chimed in on this.
Okay.
He's the search liaison at Google. So essentially, he's like the spokesperson for all things search related.
Right.
And he basically said that having just a basic website, that's still important for startups. Well, but when it comes to the blog, only if you're passionate about it, only if you can really manage it alongside all the other things that you have to do as a startup.
Right. Because, as a startup, you're wearing so many hats anyway.
You're doing a million things at once.
Yeah.
So, adding on a blog just for the sake of having a blog might not be the best use of your time and resources.
It's almost like choosing your battles, right? Like, where are you going to put your effort as a startup?
Exactly. Yeah. Where's the energy best spent? Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of putting energy into something, let's talk about Meta.
Okay.
So they're really trying to boost engagement across their platforms, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So what any platform wants to do. Yeah. And they had this idea to roll out AI-generated character profiles.
AI-generated?
Yeah. So these would be virtual personas.
Interesting.
That would interact with users.
Yeah.
I guess the idea was to make the platforms more dynamic, maybe create some new ways for people to interact and engage with the content.
Yeah, I guess in theory it sounds kind of cool,
right.
Like a fun way to boost engagement, but it seems like it didn't quite go as planned, right?
No, it did not. There was a huge backlash.
A backlash?
Like almost immediately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people were really concerned about the implications.
What were they concerned about?
A lot of different things. So first of all, there was this big question about authenticity. Are users being tricked into thinking they're interacting with a real person when it's actually just an AI?
Right, because that could be misleading.
Exactly. And then that also leads to the ethical question. Like, is it right to present AI as human without being transparent about it?
Right. Is that ethical?
And, and then there were also some concerns about data privacy.
Oh, okay.
How is Meta using our data to train these AI personas? And, what kind of information are these AI personas collecting about us?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's really tricky.
It is. So what did they do? Did they respond at all to this backlash?
And they did. Yeah. So, I have to give them credit. They acted pretty quickly.
Okay.
They removed the AI profiles and they said, look, we hear your concerns. Yeah. We're still figuring this out, trying to get this right.
Yeah, because it's a new territory.
It really is.
For everyone.
Yeah. Integrating AI into our lives like this is something that we're all figuring out as we go.
We are. Yeah.
And, it seems like Meta realized that. Maybe they jumped a gun a little bit on this one. They needed to think a little more about the ethical implications before rolling it out. But, it does raise this bigger question of, are we even ready for this?
Are we?
Like as users, as a society, are we ready to interact with AI?
Yeah.
on social media in this way?
That's a really good question. I mean, are we comfortable with that? Do we understand the implications?
Right. Like, it's easy to get caught up in the, oh, cool, new technology. Yeah. But we also need to be having these conversations.
We do.
About the potential downsides.
Right.
And making sure that we're using AI responsibly.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's move on to our final topic for today, which is TikTok.
Okay.
Of course. Right. So, as we all know, there's still this possibility of a ban in the U.S.
Looming.
It's been looming for a while.
Right.
And it's causing a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
For marketers, for creators, for everyone who uses the platform.
For sure.
But in the midst of all this, TikTok has actually made a move.
Okay.
To try to reassure advertisers.
Interesting. What's that?
So they're now saying that if TikTok does get banned, they will refund advertisers for any down payments they've made on ads.
Wow. So that's like a money back guarantee?
Yeah, basically. Like if you invest in TikTok ads and the platform disappears, you'll get your money back.
Interesting.
Which, is a pretty smart move on their part, I think.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it shows that they're aware of the concerns and they're trying to address them head on.
Because let's be real, agencies are already pulling back on TikTok ad spending.
Yeah, they are, With all this uncertainty, it's hard to justify putting a lot of money into a platform that might not even be around in a few months.
But here's what I find really fascinating.
Okay.
Despite all of this, despite this potential ban, TikTok is still pushing really hard for ad revenue in 2025.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like they're going full steam ahead.
So are they just really optimistic? Or do they know something we don't?
I have no idea. It's like a giant question mark hanging over the whole situation.
It is, yeah. It's like, are they confident they'll be able to weather the storm?
Right.
Or is this a last-ditch effort to grab as much revenue as possible?
Before the door potentially slams shut.
Right.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
It is, yeah.
So I guess the big question for all of us is, what do we do with all this information?
Right.
We've got Google telling us to focus on quality over quantity. We've got Meta learning a tough lesson about the ethics of AI.
Yeah. And we've got TikTok in this incredibly precarious position.
Very precarious.
So, think about your own marketing strategies. Think about how you're using AI. Think about your plans for TikTok. And ask yourself, are you adapting to this evolving landscape?
Good question.
Because one thing's for sure, 2025 is already shaping up to be a wild ride in the world of marketing.
A wild ride indeed.